2,837 crores. That's more or less in line because we were estimating a number of around 2,840 approximately. So the stock initially was jumping on exuberance of with regard to that profitability and the big beat on the profitability. But it appears that in fact the profitability is higher only because of this tax credit that has come in. I'm just waiting for the volume numbers. In fact, that's going to be quite interesting because we're expecting a more or less flattish volume numbers. It should have come in at around 6 million tons, but still waiting for that particular number. Rima, you got any further details?
No, I just have the basic numbers with me. I'm just trying to calculate what the margins are. But just to quickly review the numbers for you, the company has delivered a 1% degrowth in their revenues. By the way, Lupin earnings are also going to be flashing for you on your screen. 601 is what the company has delivered on the bottom line. That is largely in line with street expectations with a positive bias. It turns out to be a growth of 26.5%, but the stock is selling off very sharply. So still awaiting what the other numbers are. As of now, the only number that we have is a profit figure of 601 crore, and that seems largely in line with street expectations. The other numbers that we're watching out for, well, there you go. The disappointment has actually come through on the top line, where the company has delivered 3178 crore. This is a meager growth of 5.1%. So 3,178 crore is what the company has delivered on the top line, a growth of just about 5%, much lower than the 13% that the street was anticipating. So that's the reason for the key, the sell-off that you can see in the stock. The bottom line has come in line with street expectations. Let's wait what the margin figure is, but the expectation was of operating margins of about 26.2%, but the top line is a serious miss. Let's try and get you more details about how the internals have done, opening the press release, and in the meanwhile, the profits will, the margins will also get flashed on the screen. Okay, the EBITDA has gone up by 20%. 1 second. The EBITDA, according to the company, is at 966.3. That is what the company has delivered according to the reported EBITDA. Let's try and get you some more highlights. In this quarter, formulations has gone up by 7%. US has seen just a growth of close to about 4%, so that looks a bit disappointing. Europe has gone up by 15%. India has seen a growth of 14%. It was estimated that it would grow by about 18%, but that too has come off a bit. Japan, on expected lines, has been under pressure. It's degrown by close to about 8%, but that was expected because of the yen depreciation, so that has also affected the top line. And remember, Japan contributes close to about 11% to the top line, and that has degrown by 8%. So that seems to be one of the key reasons why the Lupin, the revenues have been such a miss. Other than that, even India has seen, a bit of a slowdown. It's just close to about 14% growth, lower than the 20% growth that they had seen in the previous quarter. In the US, the company has delivered, as we pointed out, a growth of close to about 4%, lower than the 23% that they had seen in the previous quarter. The margins have come in at 27.8%, and that is a beat compared to street expectations, which is why the stock has recovered a tad bit. So to quickly run you through the Lupin numbers, the company has the street expectations on the top line. It's just a growth of 5%, lower than expectations of 13%, hit quite a bit in the Japanese performance, where the Japanese revenues have degrown by 8% because of the yen depreciation. However, the company has managed to contain the hit on the operational front. If anything, the margins have gone up from 25.6% to 27.8%. That's a growth of 220 basis points on the margins, which is why the stock has managed to recover a tad bit from the low point of the day. Let's pull up the intraday chart of Lupin to see how it's faring. As you can see, it's recovered a bit because the company's operational performance is in line with street expectations, and even the profits at 600 crore is what the street was anticipating. The miss seems to be only on the top line, in part because of the performance of Japan.
That's right, Rima. And if you just pull up the ACC stock, in fact, you'll see that one is holding its ground. I think that's because the operating performance doesn't look that bad, actually. if you just pull it up, because you're seeing that if you calculate the EBITDA, it should be at around, that's your operating profit should be at around 10.7%. We were estimating a number of closer towards 10%. But let's get an analyst quickly in with regard to these numbers. Shrinik joins us from Angel Broking. Hi Shrinik, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. You had a look at the numbers. The profitability definitely has beat most estimates, but operating profit as well, not looking that bad at around that 10% odd mark. What did you make of the numbers?
Yes, operating level profit, which came at around 10.5%, is definitely above our expectations.
Right.
We had expectations of around 8.5%, which has beaten our expectations way ahead. On a PAT front also, the profit has increased a lot due to a tax reversal.
Right.
This might be a one-time adjustment. So on the PAT levels also, the numbers has came above our expectations.
Right. Shrinik, a couple of questions with regard to the volumes for this particular quarter. What have you got it at? For the year, in fact, I can read that the management has given us those numbers, but they've said that the realization as well as improved around 4% in 2014 on the whole. So how are you breaking that up for the 9 months? Do you have that number with you, so you can tell us what exactly was that number for this quarter?
This quarter, the volume number is around 5.76 million tons.
All right.
So on volume terms, we have seen a year-on-year decline of 1.5%. Yeah, definitely on realization front, the realization has improved by around 3.1% this quarter on year-on-year basis. On a full-year basis, realizations has improved by 3.5%.
Right.
So that's a positive sign. It might be because of the south demand has improved a bit in the last few months, and the prices are also improved a lot. So this might have helped the top line realization numbers for ACC.
Right, Shrinik, but if you're saying that the realization has gone up by close to around 4.5%, what is your EBITDA per ton? If the volumes are at 5.76, then your EBITDA per ton as well is not looking that great. If you just look at it on a sequential basis or on a year-on-year basis, going by that number of around 5.76 approximately.
Yeah, but you will have to see that the cost front, the company's limestone mines, which were there in the eastern region of Odisha and Jharkhand, had to be stopped due to a Supreme Court order.
Right.
So this has increased the raw material cost for the company. So this has impacted the EBITDA margins for the company.
All right, Shrinik, one final question. What's your outlook on the stock, given that valuation-wise, it's not very expensive? You compare it with something like a Shree Cement, Ultratech Cement or Ambuja Cement. So what's your outlook on it? Do you think the worst is over? 2015 looking good, and what's your current outlook on the stock?
Currently, we have a accumulated trading on the stock with 1630 target. Yeah, on valuation front, it is definitely it is very cheaper as compared to its peers of Ultratech and Ambuja. But because of the cost which the company has, which are on the higher side as compared to its peer, we value the stock at around 125 to 125 on an EV per ton basis. So there is a bit of upside on the stock on a short-term basis.
All right. Thanks so much, Shrinik, for joining in. But I think we can go across to Surajit Pal, who joins us for a quick analysis on Lupin's numbers. Hi, Surajit. Thanks so much for joining in. What's your first take on that particular number? We saw a big dip, and now, in fact, the stock is flattish.
I think the result is below our expectation. It will be roughly around 7% below our expectation in top line. EBITDA margin, they somehow similar level. We had around 27%. It has come around 27.8. Bottom line is also, I mean, headline margins are in line, but top line itself is 7% below our expectation.
Sujit, what was the key reason for the miss on the top line, and would that worry you? Would you change your estimates in Lupin post these earnings?
Let me listen to their commentary. Before that, I cannot comment on whether I will be changing or not. But overall, I think their revenue in ROW market might be impacted, and also the Japanese market. I believe these two markets might be disappointing vis-a-vis the whole numbers.